my second baby, and he is now 6 months old. And during my pregnancy and during this 6 months, I wanted to make an ASMR video about books and to continue doing my videos for this channel, but it was really hard to find time, and just, you know, he doesn't sleep well, and it's a challenge for me. So but I finally found some time, and I decided that I need to start doing videos. I promised to one of my subscribers that I'll make a video about Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, and I made it, but I didn't like the video that I made, and it was of a bad quality, so I decided not to post it. And also I thought that I will make it again, but probably later, also because Onyx Storm, the book number 3, comes out in January 2025, and I thought that I can make an ASMR book club video about Iron Flame just before this third book comes out, so I can refresh it in my memory, and then we can read the third book together and discuss it together as well. So we'll just talk about some books, and hopefully my baby will not start crying. And I will finish this video now. I don't have books on me because I usually read on my Kindle, so I'll just be doing a little bit of tapping on my journal. So Iron Flame is a book that is written by Rebecca Yarros, who also wrote, so this is the second book. The first book is called Fourth Wing, and I have a video about it. It's a fantasy book. It's, I think, what's now called new adult. I don't think it's young adult. It's quite mature. It has quite mature themes, and yeah, maybe it is young adult. I don't know. Maybe new adult fantasy romance. it's hard now to say, but yeah, and it is quite popular. And the first book was really good. I really liked it. I enjoyed it quite a lot. It's very interesting to read. It's definitely a page turner. I read different kinds of books. I also like high fantasy and fantasy romance and new adult and classic literature, so I'm not like, I think there's still people who like to separate high fantasy and fantasy romance, and if they read high fantasy they think that fantasy romance is not serious fantasy. So I don't have this opinions. I like both genres and subgenres of fantasy. Sometimes I want to read something more epic, and I read Brandon Sanderson, for example. I mean, Stormlight Archives is my favorite fantasy series of all time, and it's not fantasy romance at all. Or I can read Akatar, and I love Akatar, the second book. I have a t-shirt with Velaris. Maybe you can see. So yeah, I'm okay with both, and yeah, so I enjoyed Fourth Wing, and Iron Flame is the second book. And yeah, it was good. I mean, I liked Fourth Wing better, but also quite interesting. There are some parts that I liked more than the others. In this book, I didn't like the dynamic between Violet and Zayden because, well, in the first book it was really good. Like, I mean, the tension, the enemies to lovers trope, like everything was perfect. Here, I don't know. I wasn't sure about Violet, how she behaved about it, like about their relations. So yeah, but otherwise, like the part about this, like the story, how it goes further, it's really good. And the ending, I mean, wow, like I mean, the very last bit in the ending. So I was really shocked by it. I was surprised. I was like, oh no. So yeah, now you have to read it till the end. The next book I read recently is written by my favorite fantasy writer that I mentioned earlier. His name is Brandon Sanderson, and he's amazing. I mean, I love his books. I haven't read all of them yet. There's quite a lot of books, but as I said, he wrote my favorite fantasy series, Stormlight Archives. I haven't read anything better so far. I mean, there's not much romance in it. It's epic fantasy, and the world is amazing. Like, I mean, the universe is just, everything is good about this series, and the fifth book is coming out very, very soon. So I'm very excited. But I read another book by him that is called Skyward, and it's a sci-fi book. It's young adult, and it's the first book of the series called Skyward. I think that's the name of the series as well. That's the first book's title. There are 4 books in it, and it's a complete series. The main character, her name is Spencer. She is a teenage girl. So she wants to become a pilot of a spaceship to fight with mysterious aliens that attack her planet. Because her father was a pilot, a famous one, and there is a story about him. But yeah, and she wants to become a pilot. She wants to become a pilot really, really badly. And she's a very interesting character. She's very, very relatable. I liked her. She's very likable, and the book is very easy to read. I don't usually read sci-fi. It's not my jam. I have some sci-fi books that I've read and I liked a lot, like Dune, for example. I love it, and some other books, but not so many, you know. But this one is good, and it's because it's young adult. It's very easy to read, and yeah, it's fun. So I would give like maybe 4 out of 5 for this book. It's not my favorite by Brandon Sanderson, but yeah, I'm planning to I plan to read the whole series. And also, while I'm talking about Brandon Sanderson, I also have read recently the second book of his Mistborn series. Mistborn, I think it's the most famous fantasy series written by him, and I think that series made him popular. I liked the first book. Well, I wouldn't say it's the best book, but the first book of Mistborn series feel this author, how he writes, like his style, you should read Mistborn part 1 first, and then you will see, like, if you like it, then you can try some other books written by him, which I don't agree because I read again Stormlight Archives first, the first book, and I was really impressed by it. I really enjoyed it. And Mistborn I read later after that, and it's fun. It's very interesting, especially the first book is so much fun to read. I mean, it's kind of like Ocean 11. So there's a group of people with different talents. They get together to do some thing. I tried to read the second book several times. I started reading it, and then it was not that interesting as the first one, and I tried several times, and this time I finished it. And yeah, the beginning is quite slow. I think it was quite slow, but it's getting better. But I still think the Final Empire is the best of the series. I haven't read the third one, but it has better rating than the second, so I expect it to be good. And also because it's the end of the series, or maybe it's not. I think, oh no, it's not 3 books in it. I think there are more books in it in this series, but yeah, I don't remember. Or maybe just the part. Okay, so whatever. So the second book was not as good as the first one, which happens quite often. But I want to read the third one. The next book we're gonna talk about is, it's again a series, because it's fantasy, and it's a Russian fantasy series. It's called Night Watch by Sergei Lukyanenko. It is translated to English, and it's, I think, well, I can say it's quite popular, but I think there are not so many Russian fantasy books that are internationally famous. And also there was a movie made based on this book, actually 2 movies, so yeah, I think maybe if you're a fantasy reader, maybe you heard of this book. So Night Watch, and the second book is Day Watch. I watched the movies first, both Night Watch and Day Watch, when they were made a while ago. I think it was maybe 2000, no, I can't say. I think maybe it was, they were made like 15 years ago. Both books consist of several stories that are connected and about the same kind of characters, and they happen, everything happens in Moscow in 90s, and it's about people that are not people. They are called others, and they are kind of like magicians, and there are 2 types of them, the dark ones and the light ones. So Night Watch is sort of like a police, consists of light ones, and they watch the dark ones, and the dark ones are in Day Watch, and they watch the light ones. So that way they maintain the balance of power. It's urban fantasy, and it's quite philosophic, very Russian. It gives you a lot of food for thought, you know. In life, it's not always black and white. It's not always good or bad. situations and some actions that people make, like, is it good, is it bad? So he gives a lot of thoughts and ideas about how we look at it, and how sometimes good is not, like, the light ones are not always good, for example, even though they are light ones, and the dark ones are not always bad, and the difference between them is not like that light ones are like always kind and good and the dark ones are always bad. No, the difference between them is mostly that the light ones are kind of, their main purpose is to serve, they want to protect people, and the dark ones, they are kind of egoistic, they think about themselves first, not about people but about themselves. And is it bad though? Like, so I like this book and it's translated to English, but the only thing that I read some comments, like reviews on this book from English speaking people, and they say that there is a feeling that some ideas or something was lost in translation. Like, they feel like the book would be even more interesting or even better if they could read it in Russian, in original language, but I think it's still good, so I think you should try it. Okay, and the last book I think I'll talk about is called Legends&Lattes by Travis Baldry. Maybe you've heard of this book. People call it cozy fantasy. This book is about an orc named Viv. She was a mercenary for quite a while, and then she decides to retire from adventures and open a coffee shop in a town where people don't know what coffee is. They've never heard of coffee before, and they don't know what is coffee shop. But she decides to open it because she tried it somewhere while she was working as a mercenary. So it is Dungeons and Dragons inspired, and also it was written by this author during National Novel Writing Months, and it's a simple story, and you can see that it was written pretty fast, but it's like, it's not about adventures or it's not about this super story. No, it's just really cozy and heartwarming, and it's not like a page turner, like you read this book and like, wow, so many things happen. No, it's not. It's pretty slow. It's just, when you want to relax, and if you don't want to think about your problems, you just read it and you kind of imagine what happens in the book, and you feel the smell of coffee and you imagine how you spend some time in this coffee shop. So yeah, so this guy Travis Baldry, he took part in this challenge when you need to write 50,000 words of a novel in 30 days. That's what he did, and then his book was published, and now it's quite famous, which I think is amazing. I have another book that I haven't finished, and I don't know, I just wanted to mention it. It was pretty popular several months ago. It's written by Rebecca Ross and it's called Divine Rivals. And I was like, there was a lot of talks about this book, how good this book is, and I decided to read it and I didn't like it. Like, I mean, I tried so many times to finish it, and I read like, I think half of it. I mean, it's fine, it's not bad. I don't think it's bad, but I don't know, it feels a little bit, maybe the second part of the book is better. Like, if you read this book, please leave a comment. The idea is sort of reminds me of my favorite, by the way, movie, You've Got Mail. I think maybe it was inspired by it, or You've Got Mail was based on The Shop Around the Corner. That's the old movie. So yeah, maybe the author was kind of inspired by those stories. What I liked about the book is the universe. Even though it's fantasy and it's not real, it feels sort of real. Should I finish it? Tell me, please. Let me see. I think I talked for quite a lot already, and I need to check on my baby and my husband and my another child, older child as well. They're waiting for me downstairs. But anyway, I'm so happy I made this video. I missed making videos about books and making ASMR videos. Oh my god, I'm so happy that I found time to make this video, and I hope I will continue doing them. I have some ideas, so I'll try to commit to this channel this time, and I'll try to make videos at least once a week. So I hope you enjoy